The United States government is now demanding that the evacuees from Israel and the Gaza Strip pay for their flights out of there. We'll talk about it. But the good news, theoretically, for the citizens stranded there in Israel is that the State Department is now jumping onto this. And in fact, they posted this on X. Starting on October 13th, we will secure charter flights, since many of the commercial flights, if not all of them, are canceled, to help U.S. citizens and immediate family members who have been unable to book commercial transit and seek a safe means of departing Israel. And you say, wow, that's really nice. Our government's doing something useful. So let's click this link. They send you over to the State Department website. They say, hey, guess what? U.S. government to assist U.S. citizens departing Israel. I say, yes, I know. I saw the X tweet about it. Okay, where do I click to get help? They tell us here. The State Department has no higher priority than the safety and the security of U.S. citizens overseas. Starting on October 13th, we will arrange charter flights to assist citizens and their immediate family members who've been unable to book a flight. From these locations, then individuals will be able to make their own onward travel arrangements to the destination of their choice. These initial transportation options will be augmented in the coming days, and senior State Department officials are actively working with airline carriers and international partners on how best to provide additional options to those seeking to depart. U.S. citizens in need of assistance should complete our crisis intake form on travel.state.gov. Now, when I was here this morning and I was prepping for the show, they did not have a link here, okay? So they came back and they actually added a link to this, okay? There wasn't even a link. They just said that you needed to go to travel.state.gov and click the crisis intake form. All right, so I was going to role play here. Where should I go? But they fixed it. This morning, it wasn't there. All right, so good on them for fixing it. But before this morning, before about an hour ago, this whole thing was just a blank text box. There was nowhere to go. They said, we will continue to monitor the situation and closely evaluate the demand from U.S. citizens in departing Israel on a real-time basis, but expect these initial travel options to facilitate the safe departure of thousands of citizens per week. There's thousands of American citizens there. The overall security situation, availability, and the reliability of commercial transportation will influence the duration of this departure assistance. You go, okay, great, perfect. I can get some help. Now, as I mentioned this morning, there was no link here. So this morning, you'd have to just go through this and just like, where the hell do I go? That's great that there's help, but there's nowhere to click. And so what I did this morning is I clicked back over to the State Department website when there was no link. And this is what you saw, right? This is where you go. Israel's under attack to the State Department. And as you navigate through this, you go, okay, well, that's where I get some help. And the link is there now. But then you would have had to have gone here. And this is the crisis intake form, right? So now they've linked this crisis intake form back on the main post, which is good. Saves everybody some searching for it, but a lot of people couldn't find it at first. So now you go over and you fill out the crisis intake form, and which is what we're going to do now together. So again, we're stuck in the Middle East. We're stuck in Israel. And they're really going to be helping either side. The U.S. State Department doesn't care. They say, all right, hey, this is a form for U.S. citizens and eligible family members. Don't submit more than one form per person. And here's what the situation is. Please select the event for which you are contacting the State Department. Say, okay, well, I'm in Israel and I'm a U.S. citizen and I just got attacked and I'd like to get out of here. So we click Israel, Israel, October 2023. The only other option is Gaza. You're a Gaza citizen. And if I don't see what I'm looking for, that might be for the Hamas terrorists. Like, well, I want to come across and invade America. Can I come across the southern border? If I'm not, I don't see what I'm looking for. Maybe that's them. But it will be a U.S. citizen in Israel who wants to leave. So see the information below for all types of requests, they say. Here's what you can do. Use this for other things, okay? If you're seeking passport stuff, go elsewhere. We can only help you with this. Now, we say, okay, Israel, next. Who is requesting this service? Okay, I'm requesting it for myself. What is the citizenship status of the person in need? Okay, I'm a U.S. citizen. Perfect. All right, we're getting somewhere now. We're about to get out of a war zone. All right, requested service. How can our government help us in this war zone? First option, I plan to stay in the country and I want to continue receiving updates from the embassy. No. We want to get out of the country. And you just said you could help us book a flight. So I want that option. That's not that one. Option 2, I plan to leave the country on my own. No, I can't. I'm on your website because I need help. Perfect. I plan to leave the country and may need assistance to leave. That sounds good. I'm liking option number 3 here. Pretty good. Or number 4, I'm confirming that I've left the country on my own. No, don't need that either. So we're going to go with option number 3. I need a flight, man. So additional assistance. Perfect. Okay, how can our U.S. government help us? Additional assistance. I may need a loan from the U.S. government to buy a commercial ticket. Huh? What? A loan? No, man, I need a flight. And there are no commercial tickets. That's like a bad option, but maybe we'll take that option. Here's another one. I need help with the U.S. passport. No, that's not what I need. I need help with the visa for my accompanying child or spouse or minor. What? No, man, I need a plane ticket. I don't need a loan for a plane ticket, but I need a plane ticket. So let me just click this one and just see if they can help. No, I'm not a robot. I'm stranded in a war zone. Please help. Okay, next button. Okay, this is where we go. Israel. To access information about this, fill out your first name, your gender, male, female, or unspecified, depends. Date of birth, place of birth, proof of citizenship. How do you have to prove it? Passport, birth certificate, current location, Israel. Of course, we know that. Where's your address? What's your contact information? Emergency contact, add your family members, and that's it. Right now, we're obviously not going to play any further than this, but this is what you fill out. Now, apparently, when you continue to play into that further, right, when you go through that, and it's the same thing. I actually tested this just because I was curious. I was like, I wonder if they'll pay if you're from Gaza, okay? Because I wonder if they'd give you different options if you're from Gaza, and that is not the case, okay? It's the same form either way. So here is what it looks like when you go through it from the Gaza perspective, because it would be interesting, like if you had to get a loan if you're coming from Israel, but they'll fly out of there first class from Gaza, right, or something. And that's not what happens. So if you click Gaza, as we just did, I'm requesting this for myself, U.S. citizen, same options. I may need assistance to leave, and I may need a loan from the government to buy a commercial plane ticket. And, this is a war zone. Like, this is what our government is supposed to do, right? If you think the government is legitimate in any way, it's to, like, help its citizens when there's absolutely no way for the citizens to help themselves. Like, it's a social safety net in some ways. And so that's what they've got. Now, you got to pay for your own butt to get out of there. And if you continue on in the form, apparently this is what Yitz Friedman, who is on the X, he says. Here's what the Biden administration is making American citizens sign if they want to be evacuated. They must promise to pay the State Department for the privilege of being rescued by their own government from a war zone after every American airline canceled flights, and they're going to be charged interest if they don't pay on time. Oh man, that's pretty rude. They're our own citizens. Meanwhile, illegal immigrants get free trips to the United States and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, hotel rooms and stuff. Like, they book them up at, New York City hotels. Now, that is the actual update from Yitz. Now, I actually pulled up the form as well, and let's take a look at what that looks like. Here it is. So this is the Evacuee Manifest and the Promissory Note, all right, coming from the United States Department of State. All right, Promissory Note. Now, okay, little Rob, you want to be evacuated? Oh, okay. Well, how about this? This is for all evacuees, including third-party contractors. It's a promissory note and a repayment agreement. I clearly understand that I'm accepting evacuation of my own free will and at my own risk to a location chosen by the government. The mode of transportation will be charter or military transport. I understand that the evacuation flight may not comply with normal safety provisions, standard waiver stuff, but look at this, man. Oh, our government is, we get taxed everywhere. Everywhere you look, they just tax you everything, right? Sales tax, property tax, you go stay at a hotel tax, you fly in an airplane, airline tax, taxes tax, then they tax you income, then they tax you on your state level, all over the place. For what? Nothing. Then you get stranded because our own government is funding, multiple sides of conflicts all around the globe. And they say, here, U.S. citizens, if you need help getting out of this war zone, I promise to repay the U.S. government in U.S. dollars within 30 days of being billed. And if not repaid within 60 days, there's going to be an interest rate, buddy, for all applicable expenses for our evacuation. This evacuation loan is in addition to any other U.S. government loans received for other purposes, and I will keep the Department of State's accounts receivable branch informed of my addresses until I repay my loan in full. If I'm unable to repay my loan, the Department of State may forward me on an installment agreement, so they'll let you get back on a payment plan. I understand that I will be billed at the cost of our transportation no greater than the amount of a full fare economy flight or a comparable alternate transportation. So they're going to be sticking people for like $500 for like a plane ticket. That's what our government does, right? In addition to you paying income taxes for your whole life, you've also got to come up for this. My obligation to repay my loan will not be considered paid in full until it's cleared through the Treasury, and until I have paid my loan in full, I and all listed U.S. family members will only be eligible for a limited U.S. passport. So they'll actually just kind of limit your passport. C-130. If my loan is in default, I and all listed U.S. citizen family members will not be eligible for passports, for limited validity passports. My loan is going to be subject to interest and penalties. So if you just get evacuated from a war zone and your life's in disarray for a little while, late fees, buddy, interest payments. I will be liable for also collection costs as well. I'm going to make my payments to the Department of State and the accounts receivable, and I understand that I own and owe the government repayment. My government may seek reimbursement for me for the evacuation. You want to leave, or do you want to stay here and get shelled by Hamas? What do you want to do? Sign right here. Plane's leaving, man. Sign here. All right. Oh, let's go. So that's our government, right, in order. And, I understand a lot of this is routine, and I understand a lot of this is waiver, and you don't want people being sued if you're evacuating them and all that stuff. But wow. So they're going to stick you over $500 in the middle of a war zone. Thanks for paying taxes your whole life. What do we pay taxes for? I don't even know what they pay for, other than military for the Taliban, if the U.S. government can't even evacuate us. So that's what's happening. That's our government. And it's just a shame to see it. In spite of the need for competence, we just don't have it. And now they're asking people to sign promissory notes.